Combat sports fans, welcome to Strong Style, Impact Media's weekly dive into the world of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. Tons I want to get into tonight, but first, I want to tell you that if you want to help the show, you can go to our YouTube page where you can subscribe to the show, check out all of our amazing content at impact underscore media underscore. You'll find all our amazing shows there. Strong Style, of course, is this show. There are four or five other shows, depending on the week. You can also find on there. Everything but our hockey show has its own channel. Also, you can follow me, the Impact 99, on all the social medias. Some of you have done so, and I definitely appreciate that. And do follow back, as long as you're not a bot. And usually follow back. Tons and tons to get into. I am going to start with the world of mixed martial arts, and I am going to start by reminding you that Bare Knuckle FC is going Bare Knuckle or BKFC rather 69 is going to be in Duluth, in Gwinnett, wherever you want to call it. It's going to be at the Gas South Arena on Friday, December the 6th. The bell time is 8 p.m. I believe the prelims may start just before that. 11 fights on the card that I have seen, and somewhat breaking news. I will say somewhat because we're still finalizing some stuff. But I told you there's 11 fights. Of the 22 people on this card, I have one that is almost scheduled to be on this show in the next couple weeks. Looking to solidify that in the next couple days. Talked to them earlier today. I do not want to give it away yet. One of the people from the BKFC 69 card is probably going to be on this show very, very soon. I'm excited. Love to hear what they have to say about their career and all the amazing things coming up. But until then, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to preview. It's not that I'm new to this world, new to a lot of the fighters, because BKFC features a lot of fighters from other disciplines who have decided to give this world a go and get more into the bare knuckle side of things. A lot of them are from all different disciplines, so it's really cool. I really enjoy BKFC, and I enjoy that you get some of the best fighting each other here in a whole new arena. It almost levels the playing field. Just fantastic the way that actually works. But I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, and we are going to get Daniel Cooper, who is going to face Lewis Brewington. Brewington has not fought in bare knuckle before. Don't know much about his background. I'm going to look more into it later. This is the 185 category, of course. And I do know Daniel Cooper is 1-0. He actually won in South Carolina at BKFC 52 just about a year ago. I believe it was in October against Michael Lyle. Good win, by the way. Daniel Cooper fought a good handful of times in MMA from 2015 till 2023. It was a doctor stoppage, by the way, with Michael Lyle. And Cooper is one that likes to push the pace, which is interesting because when he pushes the pace, he tends to win. When he controls the pace and makes it fast. Also, when he doesn't, if he can't get control of the pace in the way he wants to, he doesn't usually win decisions. And the only exception, I believe, he lost by submission in a later round decision there that he lost by submission. So I look for Daniel Cooper to push the pace, and that's exactly what if that's what I was good at, was controlling the pace, then controlling the pace is absolutely what I would do. Next matchup. So we'll get more in depth with these as these go up the card. Next up, we're going to get Mike Livingston, who is 0-2, has a loss this past June and this past February. He is He is Mike. Let's see, what did I get his name right? Mike Livingston. Or is it Michael Livingston? It's okay. It's both. Producer Sassy just told me it's both. He is a big boxer who comes into the world of bare knuckle. Once again, bare knuckle is not just this. No, you're allowed to tape. You're allowed to protect yourself. There are actual rules to this. It's not crazy as you guys. Some of you guys have thought. Not my fans. My fans are smart and they know that this is absolutely great. We're trying to get more involved with it, especially with it here in Atlanta. We're trying to get more involved with it, so that's why we're talking about it more on our show. Um, Mike Livingston, he's fought some MMA. He has had some boxing fights over the years. Really, really good technique and mechanics in the boxing world. That can help him. Can be a detriment in the bare knuckle world because sometimes it can be a slightly different animal. But I feel like Mike is looking to get win number one on the board. He's trying to do it against Samuel Samples. Um, this is the 136 category, so you may think they're small guys, but man, that means those fists are going to be flying. The speed usually goes. And Samuel Samples is 1-1. He was able to beat Glendale Futrell back at BKFC 42 a couple years ago in Greenville. This came out of South Carolina. A lot of their events from South Carolina because it was one of the places that you could actually do these fights. I'm very ecstatic that Georgia got off its keister and allows bare knuckle fighting in the state of Georgia. It's about time. We had the PFL here a couple years ago. For the last couple years, they weren't here this year. Just wasn't part of the rotation. But they were here the 2 previous years. We've had the UFC here before. We've had, I think, Bellator's been here. There's all kinds of MMA events and boxing events all over the place. Tough man competition, tough women competitions. About time we get bare knuckle, and it's about time that UFC come back and all that because Atlanta is a hotbed for rabid fans that love their mixed martial arts. But as I said, Samuel Samples going for win number 2. Going to try to do it against Mike Livingston. It should be a fun fight. Like I said, usually when you get the smaller people, I say smaller, weight wise. And we were just talking about 185, now we're talking about the 136s. Usually you tend to get a little bit faster action. You get more volume as opposed to strategic hammers, strategic hammers. Typically, not always. I've seen 2 heavyweights duke it out like there was no tomorrow, and I've seen 2 smaller competitors strategically pick their spots. So, uh, we'll see what kind of fight this is. Now on to the third and final fight I'm going to talk about tonight. Made you guys really wait this out, didn't I? Alex Davis. They call him the Rhino. The Rhino. I like this guy. Definitely a heavyweight, 254 pounds. The Rhino. He is a charging Rhino. Do you know how to stop a Rhino from charging? You take away his credit card. I'll be here all week, folks. Had to throw that in. No, this is fun. He is 1-0. He took out Hayden Brown back at not UFC, sorry, BKFC 65 back in September. He just recently fought. Think he'll be okay. You have to get cleared to do all that. He's good to go. He's been fighting since about 2021. Like the early finishes, he likes to get this done. He likes to remind people that he gets paid by the fight, not by the minute. Um, he also loves his chin. He believes in his chin, and he is going to make his opponent Braxton Smith he's going to make him earn it because he not reckless abandon. He's very cerebral in the way he will plow forward. He very much is going to challenge Braxton to bring it. Like I'm not afraid of you. If you knock me out, okay, we'll deal with that. But you're not gonna knock me out. And he's a scary, dangerous fighter for that reason. He has the confidence in himself. And Braxton Smith making his bare knuckle debut at 205. Man, that's a big weight difference. Um, we'll see how that goes because honestly, you don't know how those are going to go. But I'm going to talk more about those cards later on down the road. But for now, talk some UFC. I can't wait for bare knuckle. By the way, like I said, we're still working on our involvement with the BKFC event. Not sure if we're going to be there in a media capacity. Not sure if we're going to be there as a fan capacity. Not sure if we'll watch it from home. Working on it. Working on some stuff. And regardless, we're going to cover this event and all the events coming up afterwards because you guys have spoken and it helps that I wield a big stick around here. And I said we need to be talking more bare knuckle FC. So we're going to. And we're going to, like I said, somebody from the card. And I'll even give you this clue. It was not one of the 6 fighters that I just mentioned. Somebody from this card. I am working very hard on getting on this show. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it because I think I'm going to enjoy it. I think they're going to enjoy it as well. Let's talk some UFC. Let's talk a little UFC. Now, we could talk a little fight night from last week where Carlos Prates got the big knockout over Neil Magny late in the first round. I hate it for Magny, but Prates, he's got the knockout power, and he showed it in the welterweight division. Renier de Ritter got the submission win over Gerald Meerschaert. Meerschaert, by the way, has, let's look at this, 55 professional fights. Still going. But Renier with a big win there. Gaston Bolano. Okay, make sure I get it right, Gaston. He gets the unanimous decision win over Cortavius Romeus. Jillian Robertson. I told you guys, do not bet against Jillian Robinson. Every time I go against Jillian Robinson, she burns me like General Sherman did Atlanta. And I did not go against her. I said I was going to stay away from that fight. Luana Pinheiro is a great fighter. Did not want to choose between the two of them because I just felt like Jillian was going to win for one. And she did. Unanimous decision there. And then Mansour Abdul Malik gets the KO win over Dusko Todorovic. And what a fantastic ending to that one. That was Fight Night. So go back and watch on ESPN Plus. Go watch those. Now, one, you're going to have problems watching on ESPN Plus if you're trying to watch the main event is UFC 309 that is this weekend. Now, I do want to tell you that some of the prelims are on ESPN Plus and Hulu, including Veronica Hardy. Shout out to Veronica Hardy. She is one of the nicest people I've ever met in fighting, and she is a great translator press conference when you need one in a pinch. She's taking on Eduarda Mora. I got to go with Veronica. I got to go with my girl Veronica. I just like the way she fights. I like the way she conducts herself. And Mora may have a better record, but I think Veronica's going to open this card with a big win. She's kind of one of the best coaches as well. But that fight and the 1, 2, 3 above it, those are the pre-prelims, I guess, are on ESPN Plus and Hulu. And let's see, that's Basil Hafez and Oban Elliott. That is Mickey Gall and Ramiz Brahimov. And that is Marcin Tybura and Yonata Deniz in the heavyweight division. Boy, I sound super smart. I hope I said half of those correctly. Been working on it. Been working on it, but man, Tabura is going to have a fight on his hands with Denise, who is 8-0 coming out of Brazil. That's going to look like King Kong versus Godzilla by far. Two of the biggest monsters you've seen swinging hammers at each other. Then the next one, two, three, four, I guess are the prelim. Those are all going to be on FX, ESPN News, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. That's the DVRs accordingly. And that's going to be David Onama and Roberto Romero. That's going to be ageless Jim Miller and Damon Jackson. I'll tell you right now, I'm taking Jim Miller. Can you not? He's had like a resurgence. Just amazing. Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. How is that in the middle of his card? How is that? Chris Weidman back from his big injury last year. Eric Anders, the former Alabama Crimson Tide linebacker, I believe. I think he's a linebacker. Cool. Recently got past some demons, doing fantastic. A fun fight. That could steal the pre-show for sure. And Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. That's gonna be fun. Then we get into the main event, which is the top 5 fights. Mauricio Rufy versus James Lontop. Ruffy? Is it Ruffy? I'm gonna say Mauricio. Mauricio is a minus 950 favorite. Not saying James can't win this one, but my goodness, do not bet on this unless you're gonna throw a small amount of dollars on James, just in the off chance that something crazy happens. But minus 950, Mauricio might make quick work of him to open up the pay-per-view card. This is pay-per-view. Then we're going to get Vivian Araújo. Araújo? We're going to go with Vivian versus Karine Silva. I'm trying. You know I like to get these right. Silva is a minus 300 favorite, plus 240 for Vivian. I'm going to say Araujo. Man, Brazil versus Brazil violence. That's terrible. It's going to be a great fight in the women's flyweight division. Silva's the favorite, but give me Araujo. Give me Araujo for that one. So far, Mauricio Rufy and Vivian Araujo. Where is this one, by the way? There's a lot of Brazilians on this card. This one's in Madison Square Garden, New York. Makes a lot of sense when we get to the main event with the diva involved there. And I'll say that. Next up, in what, I don't know, I'll be honest, this couple years ago or a year ago may have been one more spot higher and potentially the main event, but Bo Nickel is going to bring his 6-0 perfect record, unblemished record, and a minus 1,500. Stay away from this one. Against Paul Craig, or if you're not Scottish, Paul Craig. I like that this thing said that because it's a thing. The only people that call him Paul Craig are his fellow countrymen. Paul Craig is how the rest of the world says his name. Don't do that. It's just like calling it Hotlanta. You know who calls Hotlanta Hotlanta? People that don't know don't call it Hotlanta. It's not Hotlanta. Stop. Things are hot in Atlanta. Great. Not Hotlanta. Just stop that right now. Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Paul Craig plus 750. This is another one. If you want to throw down a very small amount on Paul Craig that he catches Bo Nickel in a submission, not a bad spot. Put a little bit of money, but don't be mad if Bo Nickel ends this thing mid-second round and just wrestles him to death and then slaps on some hold or knocks him out. Paul Craig is a all-world fighter. Bo Nickel is a powder keg. So I think I know how that one's going to go, and I'm going to take Bo Nickel for the sake of picking it. I'll be honest. Bo Nickel's a great story. Would love him to be super undefeated and jump through the middleweight division all the way to the top. But if Paul Craig were to get this win, it mean a lot for Paul Craig. Just saying. Um, Charles Oliveira is a minus 260 favorite over Michael Chandler at plus 210, who finally gets to fight. Michael Chandler for 2 years thought he was going to get Conor McGregor, or at least for a year and a half he was booked to. I don't know that Conor. I'll say it right now. I don't know that Conor McGregor ever fights again. I don't. Why would he? For one, yeah, he has no motivation to want to do it. He's a great entrepreneur. I could see him being a fight promoter. I don't. I don't see him fighting in the UFC, let alone anywhere else. Um, who do I like in this one? I like Charles Oliveira. I think Michael Chandler has a good shot to win too. I think this is probably a 60-40, probably a 65-35, probably 60-40. Handler is a really, I would love to see Handler win, but I think Charles Oliveira is too good and on top of his game right now. Then we get to the main event, but you can figure out who the diva is, as John Jones is finally going to defend his heavyweight title against Stipe Miocic. We're going to get to see the big payoff fight. I'll be honest. John Jones is a heck of a fighter. John Jones is one of the best fighters probably in the history of the UFC. John Jones is also one of the biggest divas and all about himself people that I have ever seen. I saw a video before we came on here where he got all the way into the TNT room and then looked at the guy who was going to do the interview and said, "Nah, you're a big Aspinall fan, and you're in with him. So you're just going to ask me a lot of Aspinall crap, and I'm not doing this interview." And he walks out, and he says, and the other guy even says, "Well, okay, no disrespect, probably wasn't going to." Thomas goes, "Yeah, just not going to do it." I mean, he was nice about it, but you have media obligations. I'm not saying you have to do every interview, but TNT is a big one. TNT Sports is one of the big ones. You usually do the TNT interviews, and I mean, if I was that guy, I'd say don't ever send me John Jones. I will talk to anybody but John Jones because that's what kind of disrespectful thing is that, you know? And then he took accept. That's fine. You don't want to shake Stipe's hand. That's fine. He said it's because Stipe said something about his children, and Stipe called him a female dog. If you go back and look, at the things John Jones has said over the years about people, way worse. He apologized for the kid's comment, and he said the only reason I called you a female dog is because I was defending myself because you said these things about me. Once again, John Jones making it all about himself. Not a big John Jones fan. Doubt I ever see him in my life. Probably not missing anything. And he's one of the best. But a lot of times you get this with some of the best athletes. The thing is, you don't get it from other sports as much. You don't usually get it from this one. Usually everybody's pretty cool. But that being said, as good as John Jones is, I hope Stipe knocks him out. I hope he knocks him flat out. Flat out. Because if John Jones wins, there's no more super fights. I don't think he fights anybody else. He's not fighting Tom Aspinall because he knows Aspinall can beat him. He doesn't think Stipe can, but Stipe can. But after this fight, I could see John Jones walking off. Dana stuck without a champion again because you can't give it to Stipe and you can't put him in a main event because he just fought and lost at that point. And well, I mean, it's got to be Aspinall and I mean, I don't know, Spivak's up there. There's a bunch of them that could be, but you're right back in it, and it's almost like we know what's going to happen. I think win, lose, or draw, John Jones walks off and acts like we're supposed to care. I don't. I don't at all. Normally, I'm not this candid about things. I'm not. I don't care about John Jones at all, and that's sad because usually, even my own, even people, I don't have enemies. Usually, people that I don't care for, even I wish them the best. I don't. I want John to ride off into the sunset, ride off into the darkness. I don't care what you do. You're one of the best fighters, and you want everything catered to you. Not how it works. Not how the world works. We all got to put in our part. So go Stipe. That's absolutely what I'm going to say. Go CPAC. Do we know when all of that's going to start? Do we have that? There it is. The Hulu ESPN Plus early prelims start at 6. So Veronica's going to be starting about 6:05, 6:10. The prelims are going to be on ESPN News, FX, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. They start at 8. And if you want to see John Jones get knocked out by Stipe Miocic, that card will kick off at 10 p.m. on pay-per-view. So we've gotten through the world of fighting. I'm going to hopefully say this again at the end, but Deep South Wrestling has a show this Sunday at New Realm Brewery. It's their home-based show. I will be there covering the event, and we'll be there to see one of the most loaded cards I've seen in a long time, and this includes the one we just saw with Skrilla the Great versus Lexus King. Here's how fun this one is. Here are the announced matches at this particular juncture. We have Chad Skywalker versus Spiral and a Bosnian no remorse match. What does that mean? That means that it's going to be a very, very brutal affair. And if anybody can bring it Spiral, I think Chad Skywalker is the one to do it. We are going to get TNA legend Cowboy James Storm versus the former number one contender Apollo Prince. That's going to be spectacular. And we are going to get former NXT standout Carolina Cruz versus Gemma Jewel. Is Carolina the one who can finally bring it to Gemma and give her the competition she is so eagerly seek? Guess we're going to find out. 4 p.m. bell time. Finally, not at 6 p.m. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, Wes at New Realm for not just for daylight's sake, but for moving this to a 4 p.m. start because it's going to be a nice 65 degrees out on the deck on Sunday. It's going to be spectacular. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. There was another match that got, let's see, Gemma versus Carolina. Called Carolina last show, by the way. Fantastic. Oh, August Artois versus Stunt Marshall. That, man, if you haven't seen August Artois and Stunt Marshall, you have to watch it because these two are awesome. These two are awesome. Made friends out of both last time I was there. They are super, super awesome performers. And once again, 4 p.m. bell time at New Realm Brewery right there on the belt line. You will see this guy. We not sure how deep Impact Media is rolling. I believe Jake will be there. If you haven't met Jake, come on in and meet Jake. And really not sure who else from the crew is going, but we're going to have a good time. So show up, come say hey to us, come talk some wrestling. Make sure if you park that you scan the code and you pay for parking. They will get you if you don't. Just saying. All right. So let's talk a little WWE. What do we like on Monday Night Raw? Well, I'll be honest. The fact that the Battle Royal come down to Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria were great to see who the next live opponent's going to be. They ended up being Io Sky, I think, because Valkyria you want to build a little better. Io being a former champion makes a lot of sense. Liv and Io will be a really good match. I think Liv still comes out of that one, but that should be a lot of fun. The deterioration of the New Day, unless they're going heel, which would be a total flip move, especially if they're like 2 weeks away from celebrating 10 years or something like that. Flip them heel, that would be interesting. We see the sides building up. This is kind of a Raw and SmackDown thing. I haven't seen Raw or SmackDown for this week. I never watch shows before I do last week's show. You guys, a lot of you guys know that. So it looks like we're going to get the OG versus the 2.0. The 2.0 being Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. If there's a fifth member, if it's not Hikuleo, I'm not sure who it could be. I could see somebody flip to one side or the other. That could be interesting. But so far, the 4-on-4 that I know of is those four versus the OGs, which are Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn. If they want to go 5-on-5, I would have left it 4-on-4. If they go 5-on-5, then we know that the other brother, Tongan brothers, coming in. They also signed a couple other members of the ANOI family that are in NXT right now. So let's see what they end up doing. But that's setting up for Survivor Series in a couple weeks. That should be a lot of fun. I saw somewhere where Brock Lesnar versus Gunther could be a thing in the near future. And Brock is one of the few people that could take Gunther to a different level. I agree with that. Not sure enough time has passed to completely clear Brock, but if anybody can, I think Triple H and WWE would figure out a way to do that. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. That no more contender spot. We knew who was going to win. Dom's not winning. Sheamus is not winning. Great that Sheamus is in that. And Seth's not winning because he's still in the thing with Bronson Reed. So Priest clearly going to win that. We go to SmackDown. This storyline that involved Candice LeRae, Tiffany Stratton, Bayley, Naomi, and Nia Jax. This is fun. There's a lot of people that can really work. Candice LeRae can really, really work. She can work as good as Bayley, easy. They're probably the two best of that entire crew, but all five of those ladies can really go. And to have all five in a major storyline definitely shows you the depth of the WWE women's division. I'll be honest, the Randy Orton, Kevin Owens stuff, I don't much care about anymore. The DIY stuff, where there's a little bit of a rift because everybody's getting opportunities over them. I think that's built out of some real stuff. I think Tampa is royally ticked off that here they are winning all the big matches, and then the Street Profits come along and get a match, or Pretty Deadly get one, or the Motor City Machine Guns come in and just jump the line and take the titles. And DIY versus Machine Gun is going to be spectacular. I would say Royal Rumble would be a good time for that to happen, but they're probably all going to be in the Rumble. So WrestleMania is too far out. What else is there? There's going to be a Women's United States Championship. I think that's spectacular. Saw the belt. Belt is super cool looking, and kind of got to agree with somebody that posted about it that Chelsea Green to be the inaugural champion. I really like that idea. Really, they do need more than just the two main titles and the tag titles. There needs to be a another tier champion like that. I don't have a problem with Chelsea Green winning that. I think that'd be great. I think that'd be absolutely great. That's pretty much the end of that. Go to NXT. NXT from the ECW arena. It's great to see Dawn Marie back. Looks like she's doing well. We saw RVD. We also saw Bubba Ray and Devon. Devon was not cleared for contact, by the way. That's why he came out in the way that he did. But saw Bubba in action. That's always a good thing. Nunzio was there. I'm missing somebody. Who else am I missing? Francine. Francine looked like she was doing good. Well, it looked like they were all doing well, which is just spectacular. As far as match, we saw Lola Vice versus Jada Parker. I thought was about a 4-star out of 5 match. Lola got this big push, and then now it looks like Jada's getting a push. They almost need to just kind of fill out a little bit. Those people can, those two can kind of face and do some things right now until they sort out the top, because there's like 10 ladies at the top of NXT. That might be the deepest women's division because they had a match later on, and these 10 are by far the ones at the top. JC Jane, Fallon Henley, Jasmine Nick, Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, Jordan Grace from TNA, Kalani Jordan, Zaria, Julia, and Stephanie Vakor. They're at least 10 deep in NXT. And honestly, you could put Parker and Vice there. There's a couple other ones you could put there as well. And NXT has the deepest women's roster right now. Next closest borderline. No, it's probably AEW. Probably AEW. Other things that I liked about NXT this week. Oh, saw Rhino. Can't forget Rhino. Rhino's super cool. Met him years ago. Uh, Fun. Man of little words, but he's awesome. The pairing up of Ridge and Ethan Page, I really like, and that they're both kind of going at Trick Williams. I think that's a solid thing there. I still like to see like the King a little higher up on the card, but they didn't ask me. Um, and other than that, I think the D'Angelo family is just kind of biding time until Tony D'Angelo gets called up, and we'll see what the trio does once he gets called up, because I don't think all of them will be called up. We go to AEW. On Dynamite, we finally got to see the Hurt Syndicate, lastly MVP and Shelton. They were called out by Swerve and Nana, who were beaten down afterwards. But I think there's going to be a fourth member. Leo Rush makes the most sense, in my opinion. But there's some other people that could make sense too. I mean, if you just want a wild card, Preston Vance. Preston Vance. That's probably going to be Leo Rush. Or could be Ricochet. Could be Ricochet or both. They could be a 5-piece. Nobody says they can only be 4 or 3. It means they want. Then they'd have 4 wrestlers and 1 manager. MVP, I think, is got a whole new career as a great manager. What else was there? Got to see Pac and Claudio against Darby and Orange. All the other people come out. The other conglomerate come out as well too. My question: this very much seems like NWO versus WCW, and if it is, fine. Not they, Bullet Club did something similar. There's a lot of people that do similar things. So who is Sting in all this? Is Sting Darby or is Sting Orange? Who is the Sting of this? The one that it propels their career to a whole new bunch where maybe at some point they join up on one side of this? Or who is the one that as all the antagonists come in, the one that keeps standing up to it all? I mean, the obvious choice you would think is Darby because he's young, like Sting was when all this happened. But it could easily be Orange, who, what would we say, 35? One of them is going to be the main antagonist. It seems to me that it's Orange, but I think that's the way it's playing out. And if you go back and watch old WCW versus NWO stuff and see Sting's role before he did the Crow stuff in the rafters and then after he did the Crow stuff in the rafters, that's, I think, where we are in this storyline. And, hey, leave me some messages down below here and tell me who you think the Sting is in this situation. Or if you think either of them are. Maybe you think I'm just off my rocker with that one. But, let me know. Adam Cole versus Malachi Black. A lot of people think Malachi Black is leaving at the end of the year. I don't know if he is or not, but him and Adam Cole had a fantastic match. That Adam Cole did end up winning. If that Adam Cole's way of getting back into shape is going against people like Buddy Murphy and Malachi Black, that's a good way to get that ring rust knocked off really quickly. That's a case of WD-40 to the rusty nail. That's exactly what that is there. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And it seems like Malachi is on a weird track, but I don't think they'll break that up. Is Adam Cole going to take over his spot in the House of Black? Is it going to be the House of Cole? Because he's kind of outgrown his Kingdom buddies. Not a bad thought, I guess. Jay White and Juice Robinson. I know this week you're going to take on, I believe, Jericho and Hangman, or no, Christian and Hangman, which is probably going to be was probably a fantastic tag match. Jay White and Juice Robinson don't necessarily need the Gun Club, who are both hurt right now, I believe. I wouldn't break up the Bang Bang Gang. I like what Clay said a couple of weeks ago that Jay White can go on a singles run because he's definitely good enough and doesn't need the group. And Juice and the Guns can continue to be a trio, the Bang Bang Gang, and do all kinds of stuff. They can do tag and trio stuff. I agree with that. Hangman's kind of in a weird spot because he's not in the elite and he's not in the main picture, and he's just kind of is the weird rogue guy. And Christian still got that contract. That's something to always keep your eye on. Penelope Ford finally came back and took on Jamie Hayter. I'm a big fan of both those ladies. Of course, Hayter got the victory, but I thought Ford, see where she was a couple years ago, and how her and Kip and her and I believe Dustin have been working a lot. You can really see the leaps and bounds she has made in her career, and good to see Hayter back as well from injury. It was like a 2 week buildup for just these two to fight for about 12 minutes, but it was a great 12 minutes. And I wish they'd kind of do a little more with it, but it looks like Hayter's going to already move on with it. And I'll say it again. Why in the world is Saraya not on television every week and featured? Saraya, come on the show. We'll talk about it. Absolutely. Come on the show. Fletcher and Takeshita took on Ricochet and Hobbs, the returning Hobbs, by the way, who has been forgotten from the Don Callis family. I was just thinking the other day, where is Powerhouse Hobbs? Haven't seen Hobbs at all. He was hurt, apparently. Didn't know. But Ricochet gets the win over Takeshita. Interesting turn of events there. We get Mark Davis, who came down, Fletcher's old partner. Lance Archer and Brian Cage come down. Ospreay come down as well. We're going to get some big multi-person match coming up soon. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's see, Blood and Guts. They've already had that, right? Yeah, they already had Blood and Guts. Because with Survivor Series about to be a big multi thing, if AEW wanted to just do the same thing that WWE was doing, I could see some sort of big thing here where it's the Callis family versus Ospreay's group. And it's going to be great because of the level of talent, but I wish they'd do something different. Rampage, Harley Cameron steals the show every time she's on screen with her expressions and her antics. Man, her and Saraya are such a great pair, and I hope that they get the credit they deserve for all that they do. I'll leave it at that. Not really much else going on Rampage. So let's go to Collision. Oh, no, I will say the Rampage main event of Commander, who I met at the last Lucha show, super cool guy, versus Leo Rush. Commander did get the win. Him and Leo Rush pour it up. Pour it up. Leo Rush is that good. Him and the Hurt thing that works even more now. We go to Collision where the House of Black ran over the Iron Savages, as they should. FTR came down, so it looks like the House of Black is going to take on FTR. It should be fun. It should be fun there. The Outrunners was a big win over Top Flight. The Outrunners are having such a great run right now. Honestly, if they won the titles from Private Party, wouldn't hurt my feelings. And Outrunners they're just running so strong right now. Roddy gets the win over Mortos, the Beast Mortos. Roddy and Adam Cole in a race to get to 3 wins so that they can take on MJF. I think that could be good because you have a lot of double crosses that can happen out of those 3, and I think there's a lot of them that could happen. Jack Perry gets a solid win over Andretti. Andretti's good. Daniel Garcia come down. So Jack Perry, Daniel Garcia. It's because too much is going on with MJF with him filming the movie. So you can't have Garcia and him go at it yet. But that's coming. AR Fox versus Nick Wayne was a really good match. AR Fox made Nick Wayne look really good. That's what he's good at. Then there was a trios match, and it didn't matter much. Go to TNA. I'll tell you right now, Marta Slamovich as the women's champion, fantastic idea because she's believable. The fact that she beat Jordan Grace, now Jordan can go do her stuff in NXT. That's basically what she's freeing her up to do. Masha as the champion makes sense. It's a fresh opponent for a lot of people, and there are tons of people that can challenge Masha for the first time. Rosemary winning the blow-off match with Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu will probably be back on NXT pretty soon. I like the pairing for a while, but luckily before they got too far into it, pushed it too far, they're going to split that team, and that actually makes a lot of sense. Joe Hendry kind of stuck out in La La Land. Seems like he's picking a fight with Nick Nemeth and his brother. I like that he makes a video about Nick Nemeth's brother, about all the things he's known for, like being Nick Nemeth's brother. I thought that was pretty funny. How he made a video and a song all about what Ryan Nemeth's list of accomplishments is, and the only thing it said was being Nick Nemeth's brother. That was great. That was great. Not too really original, but great. The women's division over there is pretty deep as well. You got Jody Threat, who took on Heather by Elegance with Ash by Elegance and Danny Luna down there. Those four women can go. That's going to be a spectacular fight for the titles. I could see the Elegance girls winning, but I hope not because big Danny Luna and a Jody Threat fan. So would like to see them hold on to it for a little bit longer. Moose versus Mike Bailey for the X Division title. This was kind of out of nowhere that he was defending his title, that Moose was going for this right here. And you had Trent Seven turn on Bailey at the end of this match. It was after it was over, luckily, but clean win from Moose with a couple spears. And a lot of you guys were like, what? Why is Moose the X Division champion? Well, he's the person who made the most sense to move it off of Mike Bailey. Why is Mike Bailey losing the title? His contract expired November 1st. Before you guys say, well, we're 2 weeks in. That taping happened October 25th or 26th. It happened just before the contract expired. Mike Bailey is on the independent scene. He is not signed currently with anybody. WWE could make a play. AEW more than likely will. I'll be honest. Maybe go to Japan. Maybe Japan would be a great place for those strikes and everything like that. Because beyond that, I don't know. But Moose X Division champion, I like that move. That gives a different power play to that title. And then last but not least, let's talk a little WoW Women of Wrestling. Katarina Jinx and Goldie Collins are by far the best team in WoW. Hope they get a shot at the titles. They beat Roxy and Foxy Fierce, but man, they really work well as a team. Man, a little bit of a yawn. I'm that tired. Other thing I liked was Miami Sweet Heat took on Jesse James and Big Rig Betty. Very predictable how this was going to end because they threw the stipulation that if Miami Sweet Heat won, Holly Swag stayed with them. And if Jesse James and Big Rig Betty won, then she went back with them. Well, looks like I bet Big Rig Betty is going to be done with WoW pretty soon. Moving on. And I think Holly Swag is going to stick around and she is going to be part of Lana Starr's group. I think Vicky Lynn McCoy left. They say she's suspended, but I think she left. So the new fourth member over there, I think, is going to be Holly Swag, and it's different. It's a change up. Occasionally, you want to change up a gimmick, and I think instead of being Holly Swag the trucker, Holly Swag the glamour glitz. Let's definitely do that one. WoW's got some really good stuff going on right now. And if you're not tuning into that, you're missing out. If you're not tuning into any of this, you're missing out. If you're not tuning into us, what are you really doing? But to recap, we've got BKFC coming December 6th right here to the Gas South Arena in Duluth Friday night. It's going to be so much fun. We have UFC 309, where Stipe Miocic is going to smash John Jones. We can only hope. Make sure to watch WWE and TNA and AEW and WoW. And Bellator and others have some other stuff coming up that we will talk about. We'll continue to preview the BKFC card, a handful of matches at a time. The next 3 or 4 fights we will talk about, and hopefully we'll see our guest very, very soon. But until then, I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. This has been another great edition of Strong Style. We will see you guys next time. Deuces, gooses. Go watch wrestling. Go watch fighting.